Today, we're going to talk about the 4 relationship toxic behaviors that can cause the breakdown of even the best of relationships. Now, you've probably heard, and I know I've heard, of examples of couples that have broken up and everyone around them is really surprised. We all say, how did this happen to this particular couple? They seemed so happy. They were each other's best friends. They got along great. They had adventures together. They seemed to always make each other laugh. How did they end up splitting up, right? So, what research shows is that there are certain toxic behaviors that can sneak into even the best of relationships, and over time can gradually cause them to break down, such that even seemingly happy couples end up breaking up. So, these are really important for us to know. If you're looking to create a safe haven, secure base type of relationship, or if you already have a good relationship that you want to preserve and make sure it lasts a lifetime, then these 4 things are important to be aware of. Unless we are aware of them and we know to name them, then we wouldn't, if we didn't know to name them, we wouldn't know to catch them and repair them when they happen, right? Because they inevitably will happen here and there. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship, right? I always say we're not looking for perfection, we're looking for connection. So all of us will stumble and have 1 or 2 of these behaviors now and then. The important thing is to catch it and repair it so it doesn't become a pattern. Because when it becomes a pattern is when it causes breakdown and damage in your relationships. Okay, so I'll name them 4 first and then I'll describe each one in detail. So the first one is called defensiveness. Second is stonewalling. Third one is criticism. And the fourth one is contempt. Okay, so let's get into each one. The first is defensiveness. Defensiveness happens in a couple relationship, usually when one partner feels blamed and they have a hard time dealing with that. And so they end up deflecting the blame and then placing blame on the other person instead. Okay, so let's illustrate with an example. There's this couple that I used to help. I'll just call them Ben and Jean. These are not their real names. During one particular night, Ben had to work really late and they had planned on having dinner at home at 6 o'clock. Jean had slaved over this beautiful meal and Ben ended up getting into a tough work situation. He forgets to text Jean and comes home past 8 p.m. So as he's walking in the door, right, Jean is not only worried and disappointed, but she's also pretty angry. Ben, on the other hand, is really exhausted and looking for support and some soothing from Jean. So he comes in and he says, "Oh man, I'm so sorry I forgot to text. It was really embarrassing at work. My boss put me on the spot with my colleagues and I didn't know an answer to an important question, so I had to slave over this report for 4 hours and I'm really exhausted and I feel kind of stupid." Jean, he hopes, will say something like, "Oh, don't worry, honey, these things happen even to the best of us. You're really good at your job," or some such thing. But because Jean herself is really upset, she's not able to provide what Ben is looking for. So their signals are all crisscrossed and they end up blaming each other. So Jean may say something like, "Why do you never text? Do you ever care that I'm just sitting here like slaving over a dinner? You never even think of my feelings, do you?" Right? And so Ben is having a hard time hearing that and ends up becoming defensive. And how does he do that? He deflects that blame and then blames her instead. So he says something like, "I'm not the only one who forgets a text. Remember last week when your sister was upset and she wanted to see you and you just rushed off and didn't even bother to text me for hours? Remember when you did that? You never text me either," right? So see how he's deflecting blame and instead placing blame on her. That is a defensiveness pattern. And when this happens over and over in a relationship, it usually spells that the relationship isn't doing so great. Okay. The second one is stonewalling. We often see stonewalling in men, although women do it too, but more common in men. So it's when a partner is, looking down on the floor or staring off at the wall or completely seemingly checked out during an important conversation with their partner. So, to the partner that's watching this, or to any bystander, it seems like the stonewalling person doesn't care, is annoyed, is completely like 1,000 miles away, and can't wait to be done with the conversation. But research shows that it's not that they don't care, it's that they are so physiologically aroused and so flooded and overwhelmed with emotion. How do we know this? So, we in research have been able to connect what's called a pulse oximeter to a fingertip of the person who is stonewalling. And we can see that their heart rate is pounding at like 100, 110 beats a minute. Normal is between 60 to 80. So you can see how aroused they are. And that's because they don't like, it's not that they don't have any emotion, it's that they're overcome with emotion and they don't know how to self soothe and stay connected and engaged in the relationship and in the conversation. And they feel like the only way they can stop themselves from going stir crazy is to stare off at the floor, stare at the wall, and sort of distance themselves. Okay. Now, if you tend to do this, or if your partner tends to do this, it is treatable. I can tell you from personal experience, I used to do this. I grew up in a home where if we were upset with one another, we just didn't talk to each other for weeks. So I just didn't have much of a vocabulary for emotions at all. And so I had to learn this self soothing and staying engaged, even in difficult conversations, as an adult. So if I can do it, you can do it, and I can teach you how. All right. If you want to learn in depth how to actually catch these four behaviors and repair them in your particular relationship, then click sign up down below on the Facebook page so that you can join our email newsletter. And that way you can email me your personal questions and I'll send you my specific thoughts for your relationship. I'll also be sharing, courses that I'm designing and in-depth articles that get into the nitty-gritty behind the how-to of creating a secure, safe haven relationship. So do sign up when you get a chance. So the third relationship toxic behavior to watch out for is criticism. So this is different from complaints, okay? We are going to have minor complaints about our partner, right? We are two adults grown up and raised in different families, oftentimes different cultures, and we come together and create a home and spend a lot of time together. Of course, we're going to have some minor complaints about the other person. The difference is when you have a complaint, you are describing a particular behavior that you don't like. For example, honey, when you come late to our Monday night dinners at a restaurant that we usually have, you always run 15, 20 minutes late, and it really worries me because I don't know where you are. I'm worried if you're safe. I don't want to call you because I don't want you to pick up the call if you're driving. And it makes me feel sort of invalidated too. Could you please try to be on time? Now that's a complaint because you're just describing a particular behavior and there's a soft tone with which you're requesting that, right? A criticism, on the other hand, with the same situation, it would sound something like this. Why do you always do this? Do you never care that I'm just sitting out at the restaurant waiting for you? You always think only about yourself, don't you? Why are you like this? Okay, you see the difference? Criticism is making the person as being flawed. So you're not saying there's a problem, you're saying you're the problem. You're not saying there's a mistake, you're saying you are flawed as a person. Those are very different ways of having a conversation about something that you disagree about, right? When there's a lot of criticism among two partners, whether it's in your romantic relationships or with your parents or with your children, it can really cause the breakdown of that relationship over time. Okay, and then the fourth one is contempt. Contempt often shows up as a kind of a look of disgust on our faces. Oftentimes, one corner of the mouth may go down and we roll our eyes like something like this. Okay, I'm sure we've seen it in other people. I'm sure we've done it sometimes. I know I have. Again, it's not about perfection, it's about connection. So if you can catch yourself and repair it, preferably in the moment with the person that you're with, then that is still okay. Okay? Why is contempt a problem? It gives a message that the other person is somehow less than or not even enough of um, worth your time, you know? So it can really hurt the other person's sense of dignity and self-worth when we do that. Of these four, stonewalling and contempt have been shown to be even more highly correlated with relationship breakdown and separation. So again, if you or your partner, if you do any one of these four things, it's okay. We can learn ways to catch ourselves and to repair the relationship. Okay, always connection, not perfection. In one of the earlier videos, I talked about the relationship house and how when you buy a house for the first time, it's like beautiful and new, but it doesn't stay that way, right? The best homes, people who have had homes for a long time, they know this. It's about lovingly repairing the home over and over. It's the same thing in a relationship. That you can keep your relationship feeling young and vibrant and alive if you're willing to keep repairing the relationship over and over and over. That's how you can have your relationship sustain a lifetime and be a safe haven, secure base kind of relationship.